Oh, send an email.
For under an hour, I could do the vouchers.
Yeah.
Only
We used
3
to-
hours a week.
We used to do them at the table, and then somebody said, "Wow, it's not really professional because you're not paying attention."
during the
Always did. Yeah, yeah. He always did. Passed them around, passed them around.
That's a lot of money.
Oh God, I think
You
I
run through money like.
I was in that. Oh, I know. I like Joe's. I like to look at Joe's. I scrutinize those.
See, it's funny.
Make sure he doesn't put a bathroom break in there or
Those are one of the
something.
ones that I just kinda.
Oh, you do? No, I don't
Benefit of the
scrutinize.
town.
I don't scrutinize them, but I look at them
No,
because
funny
it's just it's crazy.
funniest
And
was
I
when was
know,
signing 'em.
and I know that he's cutting us slack too, because every time the phone rings and it's his desk phone and somebody's not picking up, if Jim's calling him direct, chances are if it's a 2-minute or Gene would know the answer to that. He's probably not
Takes
charging
longer
us.
to log it than
It's
it
probably
takes
that's
to-
right. Yeah, but they got a meter or something.
We have audio.
On the phone?
They got yeah. I was saying that. I was saying because when I do the vouchers, I always look at Joe's. I said, well, look at Joe's, and I was saying there's probably you would know this better than. Oh, shit. Can I turn it on? Oh, you have to press it.
It's nothing out of school.
There's probably times that
Guys are here. Good to see you. And there's the guy.
All right, Gene.
Just
Really?
Every dime you said?
Every time. That's
We're gonna be ready to talk.
I was just say about the vouchers. The funniest time was when I was sitting at the newly renovated table, and I just popped the door open to look in it. What's that? Pledge and a bag on top.
Wednesday night too.
And then I just went back to signing, and then all of a sudden I came to a.
You know what? I might do that because I have to be up in Albany on Thursday, so I probably will do that.
You sure this is legit?
I texted you earlier.
Give the impression that I'm
right. That was really deep.
finish that out.
Guys in the back, Mike and
Things
Dave
about
and
tonight's
Steve,
meeting.
Manny, just don't forget, you gotta hit that thing when you respond so that the mics pick up. All right. Okay. Good, you guys should have everything in those packets.
So they're gonna have
All right.
Good.
That, and this is the two most important.
This.
That will go there.
Oh, we gotta finish this up for him.
Okay, there.
Get together with McKay.
Yeah. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. If everybody able to can stand and face the flag, we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, take your seats. The agendas are on the back table back there if you need an agenda. And I will explain what these exhibits are on the dais tonight. Those are not props, they are exhibits. And we'll get into that once we get into the meeting. But the first thing that we're going to do, well, I'd like to, I guess, first of all, make a motion to open the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
As we open up the business meeting for the village board held on October 24th, 2022. Hard to believe it's already in October, but the first order of business that we're gonna do tonight before we tackle some stuff that we gotta get to is I would like to, on behalf of this village board, issue a proclamation, and I just want to say that the couple seated in the back here and their wonderful other family member, Darwin, I am huge fans of. Had an opportunity to meet Kara and her husband back, I guess, in September. And Kara had reached out to myself and the town supervisor and just asked that we would issue a proclamation essentially recognizing September as National Service Dog Month. And I think you've got a lot of dog fans in this room, and especially fans of dogs that do things like Darwin can. So really quickly, I'm going to read the proclamation, and then I'll present it to you. And if you or Darwin want to say a couple words, you can, and you don't feel you have to, but we'll allow you to do that, and then we'll get you out of here so you don't have to deal with all the rest of this stuff. All right, proclamation as read. Whereas every September, America celebrates the working dogs and expertly trained service dogs who help people gain greater independence. Our country includes 4.7 million military veterans with service-related injuries, 1 million of us who have developed a disability during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, 61 million fellow American adults grapple with a disability, and 8% of American children under the age of 15 have a disability. And whereas Canine Companions is a not-for-profit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing a, wait for it, forever home to a highly trained service dog and partnering a devoted human being in search of greater independence with a lovable canine. And whereas Kara Dorsey and her husband, accompanied by their wonderful canine companion Darwin, visited this village mayor and town supervisor in September to remind us about National Service Dog Month and just how joyful, transformative, invaluable, and irreplaceable service dog family members like Darwin contribute to independent lifestyles. And whereas this village board recognizes the unique symbiotic human-canine bond and that service dogs educate us all in attributes like unconditional love, devotedness, attentiveness, earnestness, and close wordless affection. Let it be known that Darwin has forever furry friends on this village board, which, if I might, include Kylie Gaylord, Norman Giggy Kane, Jackson and Dansby Galliano, Maggie Mahoney, Rudy Carnwright, and Ruby and Pippa Brain. And now, therefore, be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the village of Cornwall and Hudson, and on behalf of this elected village board, I do hereby proclaim September 2022 as National Service Dog Month. This acknowledgement serves as a welcome opportunity to encourage all Cornwall and Hudson, New York residents to educate themselves about expertly trained service dogs and the folks whose lives they enhance. Given under my hand, James A. Galliano, Mayor. Congratulations. I'm going to bring this to you. It gives me another chance to come over here and interact. I know he's working, but I just want to say thank you to both of you for bringing my awareness and the board's awareness to this and present that to you.
Thank you so
They're going
much.
to sit down.
And just on behalf of all people with disabilities, including children and veterans, I just want to thank all of you, and especially you, Mayor Galliano. You were so receptive to our request. And it's just wonderful that you've all recognized National Service Dog Month for the hard work that the dogs are performing to help us be as independent as we can possibly be. So thank you very much.
And if you get a chance, make sure you follow them on Facebook because I love watching the exploits of you guys in Darwin. So thank you so much for everything, all right?
Thank you
You
all.
got it.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Patty, you have the budget report. We'll suck you into a budget meeting. Be part of that. All right. Okay, I think we're going to move right into the public comment portion. Does anybody here wish to speak? There'll be another opportunity at the end of the meeting to do so. And seeing no one interested in doing so, all right. So before we move into the regular business on the agenda, there are two exhibits on top of the dais, and I just want to draw your attention to them, explain what they are, and then just give a quick brief on the long-term plans of this board. So everybody understands that we have a lot of infrastructure in Cornwall that has been, well, it's been in place for a long time, and some of it is in immediate need of repair, others of it middling to fair, and some of it are in good shape. There are 52 miles of piping that handles delivering water to the town of Cornwall and the village of Cornwall. to the vast majority of our 16,000 residents. Yes, there are some folks that are on wells and handle their water on their own, but the vast majority of water is delivered to our residents in the greater Cornwall area from our Taylor Road well field, 5 reservoirs in the Black Rock section of Cornwall, and an opportunity to connect to or to turn on water from the aqueduct if we need it. We've been very lucky and blessed. Superintendent Trainer and his intrepid crew, and a couple of really wet seasons, this year not being one of them, but the 2 prior, have put us in a good place. We haven't needed to draw on the aqueduct. We've been able to use the reservoirs. We've been able to rely on the wells to deliver our water. So every week, it seems, or at least every couple of weeks, at a minimum of every month, we have water main breaks. The water main here, the 10-inch pipe, which is cast iron, was put into place underneath the ground in 1895. And maybe after the meeting, if you get an opportunity, you can walk up. I'm going to leave them here, and I'm going to take this on the road, and I'll explain that in a second. But you can see some of the damage, the fissures, where these pipes, again, 1895, 25% of our 52 miles worth of pipes were put in place in the 19th century. And the inside of this, you can look at what your water is running through as it's delivered to your home. The pipe over here was put in place in 1927. That pipe failed in numerous places. If you look on the inside of this pipe and think about your children or your family members drinking through it, it'll give you pause to think about spending money on critical infrastructure and the replacement and the repairs of same. That is a 2-inch pipe. Mike, this is the part I forget. Is it rolled steel?
It's just black iron steel.
Black iron steel. Okay. So again, these are some of the better pieces that I asked the gentleman in the water department to cut off for me so that I could take this to show folks. This village board understands this. There's no resistance here, but we will have a plan delivered to us hopefully in the next couple of months. I spoke to our chief engineer, Jason Pintagaro. We should have that in the next couple of months to map out our water system and what's in desperate need of repair, what can be put off for a little while, and what can be put off for a longer term. So we're looking hard at that. These exhibits, not props, I will also be taking to the town council. The supervisor is looking for a time in November for me to share same with the town council to help convince folks that we do have some dire straits with our infrastructure. The $300,000 that we were grateful to get from the federal government is not going to take care of this issue. We have dams that require repairs in the millions of dollars, and we have tons of piping that needs to be replaced that will probably tick over millions of dollars. So this is what we're going to focus on. I'm working closely, obviously, with our water superintendent, with our engineer. And that moves me on to stormwater management and sewers. So Dave Halverson, the DPW superintendent, had a number of meetings with me and residents this week. Our sewer system is mapped out by line and block charts. And for those that weren't in the military or unfamiliar with what a line and block chart is, that means somebody takes a compass or a ruler and draws lines about where lines are between neighborhoods and then shows where each of the manhole covers are. I mean, that's how it's mapped out. This was done probably back in the 90s, but we are so far beyond that with technology and the fact that we don't have that this village does not have a comprehensive mapping system of our sewer system and our stormwater system. It's important. And why is that? Because residents of a particular neighborhood met with Dave and I last week, were concerned that the water coming out of our stormwater system was dumping into their basements. And Dave had to show them that no, the pipes are actually, a street away from you. They don't run down your street. And again, we need a comprehensive mapping system for that. So we have a visit next week from our chief engineer. Dave and I are going to go out and take a walk with them and then try to have them put together a bid for me to share with the board in regards to some different things our engineers can do for us, similar to what they did for our water system with stormwater management and with sewer system. So That's that. Just wanted to give everybody a heads up what these are. I will keep them here. I want to thank the water department, Mike and your guys, especially Rich, for actually, these things were pretty pretty bad. They were flaking off and you couldn't even touch them without getting stuff all over you, and they sealed them for me and put them on stands so it can make the point to our residents about.
Probably reuse them if we have to.
Yeah, just patch them up with a little shoe goo or something. So, all right. So moving on.
Didn't look too good.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So we did that. The next matter of business, Jim, I'm going to need some help from you on this. Yep. I'm going to make a motion to accept the September 1st, 2022 special meeting minutes as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
I'll make a motion, because you were on this one.
Right, and let me just point out in that, Jim Kane and Bill Brain
abstained.
were absent, so both of you had to abstain on that vote.
2 eyes. Yeah.
Yep, 2 ayes, okay.
No, I
Three-
only heard 2.
Oh, maybe it's because I didn't. Aye. All right. Okay. Next item is going to be here, and the deputy mayor is going to have to do this one
I
because
make a motion to,
myself and Gaylord were absent on this one.
yeah, make a motion to accept the September 12th work session / special meeting of the Board of Trustees. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Nope,
Aye.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to aye on that one. Apologies, I am abstaining.
And
Then I'm going to move on to the next
you're
one.
abstaining.
You, Rich has?
right?
Yes,
Right, so
Rich
you
and
need
I
to-
have to abstain on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Gina, you catching all this? All right, next one is, I'm making a motion to accept the September 19th, 2022 business meeting minutes as presented. Rich, you were absent on this one, so may I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So 4 ayes on that one. And lastly, Jim?
Make a motion to accept the October 17th, 2022 special meeting minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Myself and Bill abstain.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right. All right, Treasurer's Report. The open utility balances report for the end of September reads as follows. Village, water, sewer, garbage and penalties, $258,047.47. Town water and penalties, $581,904.33. I'm going to make a motion to approve the October 2022 warrant number 10 to authorize payment, including prepayments totaling $686,706.09. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. The revenue expenditure reports by fund are as follows. General fund revenue, $3,871,034.67, with expenditures of $2,461,819.13. Water fund revenue, $1,780,340.61, with expenditures of $1,615,048.80. Sewer fund revenue, $358,655.61, with expenditures of $34,627.33. Total receipts, $6,010,030.89, or 76.5% of anticipated revenues, and $4,111,495.26, or 52.33% in anticipated expenditures through the end of September. The sewer capital fund balance is $556,369.97, including interest, through September 30. And finally, the amount collected in village taxes and penalties is $2,861,156.16 through the end of September. All right, let's move on to board department reports. Building Department, Trustee Carnwright. I'm sorry, I probably
That's okay.
rushed through that.
I have it, but it's.
Yeah,
Report
let me just
for
say this.
September
so-
2022.
Okay, got it.
Building permits issued 11. Certificate of compliance occupancy issued 7. On-site inspections 32. 7 on the 9 to 5 shift. 25 on the 5 to 10 shift. Complaint inspections 4. Violations 0. Stop work orders 0. Municipal searches 5. Solar panels 0. Fire inspections 10. Town of Cornwall 0 this month. Manny Carmona, code enforcement. Thanks, Jim.
Important to note that one of our employees down at the Village Department is going to be out for 60 days on medical. Another one of our employees has stepped up the front desk at Village Hall and the handling of building department matters. There will be someone there from 9:30 to 3. Do I have that right? Yes. Manny, anything to add?
No additional, sir.
Any questions, issues with building inspections or anything like that from the board? We do have Mrs. Stenganga, Kathy Stenganga, on as our part-time building inspector, fire inspector, and code enforcement officer. She is going to be working on Wednesdays and Fridays to cover the days where Manny's not available. She is doing a total of 10 hours per week, so we are at 30 hours per week, trying to get up to that 40-hour per week time at some point in time, but that's where we stand right now. All right, moving on to fire department. Deputy Mayor Kane.
Okay, for September 2022, the department report includes one structure fire, one outside fire, responded to one natural gas leak, 9 assist EMS, 1 mutual aid to the Cornwall Fire Department, one carbon monoxide alarm, I had 1 drill, 2 rescue technician basic training, I'm assuming that is, Mike, 1 meeting, 1 Orange County Volunteer Fire Association parade, is that what the association parade they attended? And Mike, you guys came in top?
Second place.
Second place, outstanding. And they had 3 work details. For a total of 22 events, total volunteer hours are a little bit over 250. The chief notes that the company participated in the annual Orange County Volunteer Firefighters Parade in the town of Newburgh. They were awarded second place in the Class B firefighting unit, 5th best overall out of all 40 marching units. And October is Fire Prevention Month. The department will be providing fire prevention lessons at COH Elementary School, the Village Nursery School, Butterhill Day School, and Canterbury Brook Academy Private School. Chief, any alibis? All right, thank you very much.
Anything from the board? All right, moving on to the police department. Trustee Brain.
The monthly police department report I have is from the work session. I don't have
Same one.
Yes, same one.
No edits. No. Very well. The Cornwall and Hudson Police Department monthly report from September 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2022. There were 324 total calls for service. Among those, there was 1 call for felony criminal mischief. There was 1 for criminal mischief and 1 for harassment or aggravated harassment. Under vehicle and traffic, there was 1 personal injury accident, 4 property damage accidents, 5 traffic summonses issued, 10 traffic warnings issued, 3 parking summonses issued, 6 traffic enforcement posts, and 2 speed and radar sign postings. Under non-criminal activity, there were 3 fire response calls, 3 domestic incidents, 6 alarm response calls, 3 noise complaints, 2 suspicious person calls, 1 suspicious vehicle call, 2 suspicious activity calls, 11 animal complaints, and 2 disorderly juvenile calls. The COHPD assisted other departments as follows. The Town of Cornwall PD 7 times, EMS 8, other police agencies 4. They performed 3 welfare checks. They assisted 6 citizens, and that is the count there. During the month of September 2022, Cornwall and Hudson PD officers attended implicit bias training, which was held at the COH Village Boardroom. During the month of September 2022, Cornwall and Hudson PD participated in Orange County Stop DWI traffic grant funding enforcement. And the department has requested a resolution from the village board to transfer approximately $1,000, which was received as a donation from the town of Cornwall, the Greater Cornwall Chamber of Commerce car show from the village revenue donations line A2705 to the expenditure police expense line A3120.4. This donation funding will be utilized to upgrade the graphics on all marked COH PD patrol vehicles. Respectfully submitted, Chief Stephen E. Dixon.
Bill, why don't you go ahead and make the motion on that?
I move that the COH Village Board transfer approximately $1,000. Do we have an actual final figure, or is this?
It's 1,080.
It's $1,000. The village board to transfer $1,000, a donation from the Greater Cornwall Chamber of Commerce from proceeds from their car show, from the village revenue donations line A2705 to the expenditure police expense line A3120.4. Do I have a second?
Second.
I would just indicate, because it's money coming in as a revenue, we have to do a budget amendment increasing the revenue by 1,000 and the expenditure by 1,000. So rather than a transfer, I prefer we call it budget amendment, if that's possible.
Amended as described by the village clerk and treasurer. This will be a budget line, what did you call it? A budget line amendment, as opposed to a transfer. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Chief, anything to add to trustee Brain's report?
No, that's it, sir. Thank you.
Board members?
Chief.
All right, moving forward, Department of Public Works, trustee Carnwright.
Village of Cornwall and Hudson Department of Public Works, September 2022. Trash collected for the month, 106.35 tons. Recycled collected for the month, 23.25 tons. Yard waste collected for the month, 60 yards. Mowing and trimming of village properties continues. Sweeping of streets, blacktop patching, repairs and maintenance of village-owned vehicles. Hazardous trees removed from Duncan Avenue, Willis Avenue, and First Street. Raised planter and pavers for a new bench at the Village Hall. ADA compliant sidewalk upgrade in front of the firehouse. Crosswalk for the school crossing. Sidewalks replaced on Willis Avenue. Notes: fall bulk cleanup was completed on October 17th. We are still making delivery of our new fleet maintenance vehicle. We are still awaiting delivery of our new fleet maintenance vehicle. The cab and chassis have been delivered to the dealer, and they have begun to install the body and equipment. Dave Halverson, Superintendent of Public Works.
All right, before I ask Dave if there's anything to add, there are two items that we need to conduct business on. So I'm going to make a motion to promote at the DPW Superintendent's behest Thomas Lyons to the position of Assistant Leader effective October 24th, 2022. Dave, this was a position that was open and available, and we didn't have anybody filling it. And maybe just give a little background on Tommy, how many years in the department, and what is his job gonna be? Or how does it differ?
Sorry about that. He's been with us since 2004, so he's got 22 years in. The assistant leader's position is available in the county with us. He's been doing
2004 would give him 18 years.
right, I'm sorry,
Okay.
18.
That was not my strong suit either, but I thought it was 18.
Okay, but, yeah, I did it backwards, sorry about that, but I lost my train of thought.
So his job is just, the increased responsibility means that he will be doing what?
He will be filling in when the working leader is absent, and I am not there as well. The position is available. We did all our due diligence. We had to clean up some paperwork within the department ourselves with job titles, and that stuff has all been done and cleared with the county.
Yep. And Dave just pointed out it's required that we have that position filled
By the county.
by the county.
That's what it says.
Okay. All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, my second item of business with Department of Public Works, the posting of a promotional position. Upon the recommendation of DPW Superintendent Halverson, I propose a resolution authorizing the posting of a promotional position of motor equipment operator, acronym MEO, in the Department of Public Works. Dave, anything to add to that?
You have to have a CDL Class B minimum for that position, which is any of our larger trucks that you need to drive. And we need extra bodies for plowing, sanding, that time of year.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Is it a seasonal, did you say it was a seasonal position?
No, this would be
Still have a
a
position.
full-time union position. It's a promotional position, not a new hire position.
Oh, I see.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on to the water department. Trustee Gaylord.
September 2022 monthly report. Monthly production, 21,338,000 gallons, giving us a daily average of 711,000 gallons. Samples, we collected 34 samples in accordance with our approved water quality monitoring plan. Treatment, new south well pump repaired and back in service, new variable frequency drives installed for both well pumps, cleaned and disinfected Black Rock WTP clear well. Transmission and distribution, 76 utility markouts were completed the fire flow test at Storm King Arts Center, repaired the water main break at 363 Hudson Street, Black Rock Forest, 281 Hudson Street. Repaired the fire hydrant, Ores Mills Road, private water leak repaired on Cedar Lane and Angola Road, repaired curved valve box, Pleasant Lane, water shut off at property owner's request, 11 Harris Lane, blacktop leak sites, performed preventive maintenance. Meters, red commercial meters, red town residential meters, 12 final water meter readings were completed, 8 residential water meters were replaced, 2 meter transmitter replaced, 1 water meter inspections completed, new 8-inch commercial meter installed at Vales Gate Business Center. Community and outreach, provided an information slash educational booth at Greater Cornwall Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival. Personnel, I ask that the board appoint Mr. Justin Gallardo to the vacant labor position for the water department with a start date of November 14th, 2022. Subject to pre-employment medical physical and 52-week civil service probationary period. Sincerely, Michael P. Trainer, Water Superintendent.
Thank you, Rich. I'm gonna do one alibi here. Dave, real quick, I know it got pushed back, but we are doing paving this week, and the places, again, we're doing Taft Place, we're doing a mile of Deer Hill Road, we're doing what else? Parts of
Taft Place, Bayview Terrace, Briggs Road, and we're doing Deer Hill Road.
And we expect, weather permitting, that this will happen sometime now, Wednesday, Thursday, realistically?
Tentatively scheduled now for Thursday, Friday, due to the rain and forecasted rain again tomorrow.
Okay,
It's looking like the last text message I got was Thursday, Friday.
got it. Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so following on to Rich's report, I am going to propose a resolution to appoint Justin Gallardo. I did have a meeting with him, an interview, if you will, with the water superintendent, and I was impressed. He's a 41-year-old guy, hard worker, comes with a good pedigree and a good resume, and we're looking to make this hiring effective November 14th, 2022, to, as what Rich stated, an open labor position in the water department at the current pay rate in the CSEA contract, subject to the 52-week probationary period and pre-employment physical screening. And yes, he has already been approved by through Orange County personnel. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, New Windsor Volunteer Ambulance Corps and Cornwall EMS. Deputy Mayor Kane.
Sure. Okay, some highlights for the month of September. And with respect to personnel, they had 4 new volunteer members. They're putting hiring on hold as they're reviewing their funding currently. With respect to operations, they had 357 total responses for service. 234 of those were in New Windsor. There were 92 responses in the town of Cornwall and 15 in the village. They had mutual aid to the town of Newburgh, City Newburgh, Woodbury, and 2 in Highland Falls. With respect to average response time, it was 7.43 minutes in New Windsor, and the average response time was 6 minutes and 35 seconds in Cornwall. which I think is a reduction from from last month, from what I remember, because I think it was a little over 7.
Yeah, they've started stationing somebody, I think.
Okay, yeah, and New Windsor units have responded to 5 second calls in Cornwall, while the Cornwall unit has responded 9 times to third calls in New Windsor. No calls for service went uncovered in New Windsor or Cornwall. And the Cornwall station is almost completed. Crews are reporting out of Cornwall now. Karen Edelman Reyes was appointed, I know she's a village resident, or just town.
She's a town resident.
Town resident,
Yep.
has been appointed to New Windsor EMS Board as the Cornwall representative. And that's about it. Michael Bigg, Chief.
I think it's important to add to this that on Sunday, October 16th, not yesterday, but a week before, it had been 100 days that Cornwall EMS had been in service. 0 missed calls. 100 days, 100% response rate. It's what residents expect, and it's everything that was promised to us when this deal was brokered, and we hope that it continues. So good job, guys. Any trustee have anything to add on Cornwall EMS or NUVAC?
I think there was one bullet point here that it looks as though they had two accidents, I think. Vehicle accidents, and they're reviewing SOPs, and they're gonna install drive cameras in their units.
Yes.
So I assume those were minor,
Yes.
would be my guess,
Yes.
but yeah.
Okay. Anything further? I'm sorry, sir.
One thing, when we did the motion for the promotion, we forgot to include a probationary period.
So I'm gonna go back and amend that motion.
There should,
Hold
we
on
should
one
put a
second.
6-month
Make sure I got it.
probationary period.
All right, so I'm gonna amend the motion to
Only here.
that if he's already an employee, is he subject to a probationary period? He's not subject to a 52-week
No,
probationary period.
up to 6 months you can use.
Okay, what's the least amount you can do?
8 weeks.
3 months? The guy's been
I
with
don't
us
think
for-
there is a least amount.
Okay, so the guy's been with us for 18 months. What are your guys' thoughts on? I always think on a new hire, we go the longest amount of time. But for somebody who's been here for 18 years, I know it's a different position, it's more of a leadership position, but what's the board's feelings on what we should make it?
My question is, what would you recommend? Because I know Tommy's reputation.
Me
But
too.
What do you?
Yeah,
It goes both ways.
yeah. I mean, I think we should do the 6 months, just to
Okay.
put it out there.
Then on the recommendation of the DPW.
We should be consistent.
Yep, that's a fair point. So on the recommendation of the DPW Superintendent Dave Halverson, I will amend the motion to add the additional requirement of a 6-month probationary period. Do I need to second that?
Yes. I'll
May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the matter? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so where were we? We just finished up the EMS. Now moving on to the resolutions. Water service agreement. I am gonna make a motion to approve a Village of Cornwall and Hudson water service agreement as prepared by the attorney for the village in addressing requests by developers for village water service. Mike, anything to add to that?
Just that we've been approached by a few developers for ongoing projects in the town and village. They're looking to connect to our water system. So our attorney, Joe McCain, his team have developed a standard agreement that we'll be able to use as a template for all the developers with a little bit of tweaking for each project individually.
Okay. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion, questions, issues?
Yeah, just a point of information, was this the agreement where there was a question of simultaneous submission of the invoices to Storm King? When we receive an invoice, that we would share it with them to explain why they're being charged for the invoice we're giving them. Is that it?
It's that question was in response to that agreement, which is based off of this template. This is just the template we're using right now. I think there's another resolution after.
There is.
Yeah,
on
I
that
see.
matter.
Sorry, got it.
This was just to get this, we just want a standard template in place for the approaches that we have been getting from developers. All right, I think I asked for a second, right? And any other further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, moving on to Bill's Point, which is a water service agreement and project escrow agreement between the Village of Cornwall and Hudson and the Storm King Art Center. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the water service agreement and project escrow agreement between the Village of Cornwall and Hudson and the Storm King Art Center as proposed by the attorney for the village. And Jim, I'm gonna need you to do this, or can I do this? To further authorize the mayor to sign the agreements. I can do it? All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
To trustee Green's
yes.
point, Mike had brought that up as an issue. I handle billbacks and escrow for planning and zoning. We're gonna handle it the same way, so Joe's wording is correct in the agreement.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, Donahue Barn Roof Replacement Project, bid opening September 15th. I'm gonna report that a bid opening was held on that date, September 15th, for replacement of the Donahue Barn roof that everyone in this room is well aware has a huge gaping hole and issues that we are trying to mitigate as the village owns the property and the barn. We received one bid from TAM Enterprises, that's TAM, T-A-M Enterprises. The bid was carefully reviewed by the village engineer and the Donahue Farm Steering Committee. In accordance with that and their advisements, I'm gonna make a motion to reject the bid in its entirety. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or elaboration? Bill, anything further to add to that?
It was deemed to be above potential market rate that could be available. Well above.
Well above. Perfect. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Annual supply bids. All right, I'm gonna introduce the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas the village board has received bid documents and specifications for the solicitation of water treatment chemicals, off-road diesel fuel, and sludge removal services, and whereas the village board has reviewed the bid documents and specifications and approves of same. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the village board hereby authorizes the publication of the notice to bidders indicating that bids will be accepted as follows. 1, until 2 p.m. on November 10th, 2022 for water treatment chemicals. 2, until 2:15 p.m. on November 10th, 2022 for off-road diesel fuel, and 3, until 2:30 p.m. on November 10th, 2022 for sludge removal services. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. I think that was the sludge that got everybody to say, now we'll move on. All right, Orange County Property Tax Exemption Resolution. I'm gonna introduce the following resolution, and I'm gonna move that this board adopts it. Whereas the Village of Cornwall and Hudson is the owner of real property in the town of Cornwall and the town of New Windsor, County of Orange, identified in the tax map as follows. In the town of Cornwall, Section 32, Block 1, Lot 17, Section 4, Block 2, Lot 56, Section 29, Block 1, Lot 50, Section 29, Block 1, Lot 54, Section 31, Block 1, Lot 15, and in New Windsor, Section 65, Block 1, and Lot number 20. And whereas the above real property is devoted solely to public use and part of the village-owned water system as a site for water wells, plant treatment, chlorinator, and watershed, and whereas the real property tax law, section 406(3), provides the authority for each taxing district in which municipally owned property used in such manner is located to grant a whole exemption from real property taxes levied by that taxing district. And whereas such exemption for the Village of Cornwall and Hudson water supply site real property would provide a direct and immediate benefit for the taxpayers and water users of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson, which would enhance real property ownership, encourage industrial and commercial development, and exemplify a spirit of intermunicipal cooperation between the County of Orange and this village. Now therefore be it resolved by the Village Board of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson on behalf of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson, its taxpayers, water systems users, and citizens hereby petition the County of Orange, Town of Cornwall, and Town of New Windsor to grant a whole exemption from state, county, and town real property taxes commencing for the calendar year 2024 for the parcels of real property identified above and any additional properties as may be identified for which an exemption may be appropriate. And be it further resolved that the mayor and attorney for the village are authorized to attend such meeting of the Orange County Legislature and committees thereof as may be appropriate to aid and assist in the deliberations in this petition by that body. Now, may I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Have we ever got it?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We get it every year from the county. We don't get it from any other agency.
The town.
Which would be the town and the town, two towns. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. Election resolution. I'm going to introduce the following and move for its adoption. Whereas the New York State election law mandates that each village must establish the polling place and hours that the polls will be open for village elections, and whereas the Village Board of Cornwall and Hudson, after due consideration hereon, has determined the polling location and hours of voting in accordance with the standards set forth in the New York State election law, now therefore let it hereby be resolved by the Village Board of Cornwall and Hudson that pursuant to New York State Election Law, Section 15-104-3, the location of the polls for the election of March 21st, 2021 shall be Village Hall, I'm sorry?
2023.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. All right, we've already done the other stuff. March 21st, 2023 shall be the Village Hall, located at 325 Hudson Street, Cornwall and Hudson, New York, and be it further resolved by the Village Board of the Cornwall and Hudson that public voting for mayor and 2 village trustees for terms of 2 years will be conducted on March 21st, 2023, with the polls remaining open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
There goes my anniversary.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. Compilation audit 2021 and 2022. I'll move to introduce the following resolution and ask for its adoption. Whereas the village board wishes to exercise due diligence in its oversight of the village's finances, and whereas the village board wishes to continue its policy of conducting an annual compilation audit of the village's financial statements, now therefore be it hereby resolved that the village board authorizes Nugent and Hausler, P.C., to perform a compilation audit of the Village of Cornwall and Hudson financial statements for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022 at a cost not to exceed $13,250. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Gene, we just do this, I know, just for the public's edification, we do the compilation we do the actual full audit every few years, but the compilation we do like every year or two thereafter, right?
Yes.
So, okay. Okay, that's all I wanted to confirm.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next resolution is an authorization for the mayor to sign the iWorks Systems proposal for the building department. So that everybody recalls, the DPW and the water department do have the iWorks system at their avail, and as does the town DPW. They don't have a water department. And the building department asked that they could purchase said software program and apply it here. All right, so tonight we were going to move to have this approved by the village board. We discussed it last Monday night at the work session with the building inspector, and the village board was going to be prepared tonight to authorize that. But in speaking with counsel, meaning the attorney for the village, he has received the contract. He has reviewed it preliminarily. He needs to prepare a rider to be attached to the contract for my signature. This is apparently what we did with the 2 prior iWorks agreement, and council is advising that the board not take any action on this matter tonight, but handle this matter at the next business meeting or work session if appropriate. Is that all right, Manny? Understood, sir. All right, the board wanted to get this done tonight, but we got to get this right. And I spoke to Joe a number of times today, and he is working on that rider just to keep it consistent and make sure we're in good spot. All right, thank you, sir. All right, moving on. Energy pricing agreement, NG Resources LLC. Due to the war in Ukraine, the closing of Indian Point Nuclear Power Plant, and the rising demand for electric power, prices have gone up significantly. It's expected that rates will continue to increase into and over the winter months. It is important that the village lock in a fixed rate as soon as possible to protect against further rate increases. The NG Resources LLC provided the lowest fixed rate currently available at 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour, close to a 50% increase from our current rate. Central Hudson's current rate is about 13 cents per kilowatt hour, and that rate continues to rise. Therefore, upon the recommendation of Village Clerk Mahoney, who also serves as the village's treasurer, I'm going to make a motion to accept the proposal from NG Resources LLC for savings on the village's electric bills through a consulting agreement with M&R Energy. The agreement will be for a period of 24 months or 2 years at it's around 11.5 cents, but it is exactly 0.11595 cents per kilowatt hour. May I have a second?
Second.
Promise me there's no further discussion on this, because I won't be able to explain anything in regards to kilowatts and this cost. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, guys. Through all the resolutions and moving on to other business. Good, and I can save my voice and hand this off. Donahue Farm Steering Committee, Trustee Brain as the village board's direct liaison to the Donahue Farm Steering Committee. Can you give us an update, sir? And there's a second section for you to give us one on the Community Garden Fund, which we'll handle separately. So everything but the Community Garden Fund.
Very fine. Lots is happening at the Donahue Farm. There's a good amount to report, not a huge amount, but there was a highly successful fundraiser put on jointly by the Cornwall on Hudson Special Events Committee and the Donahue Farm Planning Steering Committee on October 15th. A temporary permit to serve and sell beer and wine was obtained by the village, and the combined committees put on a heck of a show, including a band that played called Chicken Head Rocks, a bar, light snacks, and it was all followed by a costume contest for children and the showing of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I made it to that, and that was highly entertaining. So that was a huge collective effort. Superintendent and Chief Mike Trainer and Special Events Committee lead Mike Trainer, Dominic Cordisco, Phyllis Herring, Phyllis Murphy, Dave Work, Dee Kazurgian, Kara Gilardo, Charles Quinn, the Storm King Engine Company #2, and the whole Special Events Committee and the Donahue Farm Planning Committee. I probably missed people that helped and were there. I got there pretty late after the film had started. So just really, the tail end of it was a great time. I really enjoyed walking around, talking to people as the movie played, and really appreciate it. And we all thank you, and it was a glorious time. I do know that the bar alone, there were also food trucks at this. The bar alone raised north of $1,300 during the course of the event, and there were also donations from the 2 food trucks, both of which sold out their stock. And there were also donations made during the course of the evening as well. And there was raffles and things. So we'll have tomorrow a full accounting for the funds raised.
Very good.
A roof estimate, we discussed it. Last I heard that they were able now again to pursue potential roofing from the county contractor that had initially agreed to provide an estimate but had some administrative problems over the course of a few months that have been resolved, and so the expectation is they're going to get an estimate from that company with a full estimate to be sure that they're estimating for the appropriate work. The farm was extensively featured in the New York Forward grant application and in the video that was produced as a result. I'll just stop there. New York Forward grant was submitted and was received by the regional council. The committee is prepping a further set of recommendations for future uses. I know that they've begun drafting a version of that. I think they're gonna get into some robust discussion of it tomorrow evening, and that meeting happens right here at 6:30. That is what I have apart from the garden, which we're going to discuss.
Okay.
Any questions? Anybody? Or further additions? I mean, Mike, you were there. Brendan, you're on the advisory committee.
Mention Margaret Quinn, she's not.
Margaret did the costume contest. She's fantastic, and yeah, she really and she, like me, is unafraid to don a cloak for appropriate costume events.
A cloak or a cape?
Well, mine's a cape with a hood, but I was told it's called a cape, but it feels like a cloak. And Margaret really puts it on and has a great time, and yeah, gets everybody going. So she's terrific as well. Thank you, Brendan.
I was sorry to miss that. We had the Montefiore St. Luke's Cornwall Gala that night at the Silk Factory in Newburgh. The town supervisor and I and our wives were there, but I want to thank Bill for being there, and I certainly want to thank Jim Kane too for standing in for me there, and everything I've heard is it was an amazing event. So thank you guys. All right, moving on. I guess the question becomes in regards to the community garden fund, and this is something I was just trying to knit up today, Bill. I probably should have grabbed you before the meeting and I completely forgot. But whether or not the agreement between Donahue Farm and the Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan has been executed, because the check has not been processed yet and we have not heard anything. When I talked to you this morning, since
I've heard this afternoon.
you heard this afternoon, well then this will be news for me. So this is breaking, I love breaking news. All right, so where do we stand?
It has been executed between the secretary of the Donahue
Here.
Farm Steering Committee signed it, Dan Poindexter,
Excellent.
as well as one of the, I guess it was Elizabeth Rowley who signed it on behalf of the CFOS, right? I didn't actually open the attachment, or it might have been Nicole.
Was it all signed online? It wasn't done personally,
I
was
believe
it?
they did it through DocuSign. which is,
DocuSign.
Yeah.
Got it. Excellent.
Yeah, and so they are now capable of receiving donations into a Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan account, which is earmarked for Donahue Farm projects.
Excellent.
One would write a check to CFOS Donahue Farm Fund if one were so inclined. I believe we cannot solicit donations of any sort, but if one were to just spontaneously be interested in doing that, CFOS Donahue Farm Fund. And then, yeah, so, right, so there's the check that the village has donated or, written in order to be the seed funding for that, and they're also gonna be able to transfer the money that they did in the fundraiser into there as well.
So just if I may
anything else to
interrupt
say?
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we didn't have any information, we couldn't prepare the check.
I see.
So
Okay.
that'll have to go with our November warrant.
Got it. Okay.
Got it. Okay, and I'll explain later, but since I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, Bill, I'm gonna ask you for a favor. Can you put that into just a small paragraph in regards to how people can make the donations? You'll do it on the mayor's message and just do it under your hand and as the village board's liaison to the committee. I'd like to get that up tomorrow on the village website and on the village Facebook page. And if you could share that on Living in Cornwall Uncensored, the community bulletin board, all the normal social media places, let's get that out quick. I won't be around tomorrow to draft that, but if you could just, like you said, a short paragraph, put the bullet points in there, how people can do it and how excited the village board is, and let's see if we can't start getting some donations in. Thank you. You'll get that to Jean, and Jean will see to it that it gets posted to the website and to Facebook. All right, moving on. 2022 fee schedule forms in regards to the building department.
The village trustees have promised me that by next month, they'll have completed their review of the scheduled fees, and we'll have any questions for Manny to answer at our work session. Whereupon, 1 week later, we will be voting on those scheduled fees.
You know,
All
the good,
promise- all raising your hands, aye.
the good news on this is that we will get this approved just in time to get it approved again next
There
year.
you go.
So it'll, at least we'll have it greased and we'll have it worked through. We got all the kinks out. Trustees, what the deputy mayor is saying in gentle language is, please take a look at that. Absent hearing anything from you guys by the work session, our next work session, which is on the 14th, we are going to go forward with the recommendations that the code enforcement officer and the deputy mayor convinced me we should go forward with. All right? So I just need you weighing if you have any. And if you say, looks good, that's fine too. All right, moving on to the yacht club, the Cornwall Yacht Club. The board is aware that we are researching a portion of Shore Road that the village believes is village property. The yacht club has a difference of opinion in regards to who has authority over that, whether or not it's CSX because they have a right of way, or whether or not it's the village that takes care of that road. It is being handled by attorneys in a good way, and meaning that they are speaking about this. The code enforcement officer has handled the signs that had to be removed, the ones that restricted parking, the ones that said do not enter, the ones that were stop signs and no turnaround signs. And they're in compliance on that, correct, Manny?
Those, I went by there today, the no trespassing sign is still visible.
Yeah, okay, that's on the white sign that's on village property along the railroad way. All right, can you just follow up with that with them and just ask them, we at some point in time, if it's determined that that is village property, that sign will have to be removed. That does not have to be removed now, but at least I think as our attorney has advised, they need to just cover up the no trespassing piece that's on village property.
Correct.
Okay, you'll follow up with them on that for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and just stay knitted together with, obviously, with Joe McKay. Anything else from a trustee in regards to this matter? All right, moving on. Fire department proposal to purchase the new pumper tanker. So the village board has approved the purchase of a dual action. How would you describe it? Since it takes, Rick, I'll ask you this, since you're on the fire commission, since it takes the place of two other vehicles, what would you call that?
Function.
Dual function. See, I knew you went to Harvard.
Yeah, we didn't say we voted on
No, we didn't vote it.
it. The way you said it,
The board did not approve it.
yeah, you said it.
Per-
You did, yeah.
I did?
Yes, you did.
I'm
We
getting,
approved the exploratory.
yes.
Freudian
We're-
slip.
As far as, right, and as far as where we are right now, I think it's still in the hands of our attorney in regards to how the board would finance this. Would we take out a bond anticipation note, or would we do this through Sourcewell, Mike?
Well,
That-
honestly, sir, we have to pass a bond resolution, and we're gonna have one prepared and ready for you to address at the November meeting. That is a completely separate issue from whether or not we use Sourcewell or we go to
Got
a
it.
competitive bid.
Got it,
But it'll be a bond resolution subject to permission of referendum.
got it. Which
And
will
that
be
it
the
has
next
to be
step.
in place before we decide what kind of borrowing we're gonna do. The bond resolution has to be the first step.
Got it, okay.
I
Anything we,
believe we did we indicated our approval to explore the pricing using the Sourcewell contract.
Correct. Mike's
Yes.
working with Joe right now, just to make sure there's no nuances with that.
and that's what we were waiting on Joe to get back to us and say, you know, whether or not he advised. Is that how you remembered it, Mike?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you for that
And we
clarification,
wanna
Gene.
go through, go through Sourcewell.
That was the recommendation from Mike and from the fire commission, right? But obviously, we want to get the weigh-in from Joe.
Right.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next one, the memorial donation requests. The village board is not turning down requests right now. We have a couple of requests for benches that are in the queue. We did get one installed. You'll notice it outside here. It was donated by a woman whose mother graduated from Cornwall High School in 1948, a longtime village resident that passed away a number of years ago. And the daughter, who lives out of state, just wanted to donate a bench. And we were able to talk her into a place in front of Village Hall, in front, where the island is, where the mayor's crypt is, as it's being called, but that is the raised, it's not the crypt, it is the raised flower bed that we are waiting with, since we have supply chain issues in regards to sod. We have everything wired and ready to go in regard to lights and a water system and all that, but the sod, unfortunately, has been a little bit of a delayed getting to us. But that will be fixed up and ready to go at some point in time, as soon as we can get the grass to come in, and then we'll button those things up. I get that right, Dave? All right, good enough. All right, request for interpretation of Chapter 151, Section 1 of the Village Code. Let me just make sure I do this in using these notes. So a matter came before the planning board in regard to a village property where a developer wants to expand on that property in the village. And the zoning board had to take a look at it to determine whether or not variances would be granted. Those variances were granted that were necessary. It went back to the planning board for a review of the site plan. And the planning board has asked the village board to take a look at the site plan in regards to the village's tree policy. And the village attorney is engaged with the, what do you call him, the requester or the applicant, that's what it is. I'm not the polemicist I thought I was tonight. So the applicant's attorney has provided their argument why a particular tree, which is located close to a village sidewalk, why that particular tree, a rather large tree, would need to be taken down in order for this project to move forward. The planning board has asked us to review it, to review the village code related to that, and it is currently in the hands of the attorney for the village reviewing that. He will come back and brief this village board on the 14th of November, which is our next work session. The village board will then make a determination, yea or nay, as to whether or not the project can proceed as it is currently outlined. And the applicant, the requester, will have notice that night, because the next day is the next planning board meeting. So our attorney was on the phone with the applicant's attorney today for some period of time, so that the applicant knows that this is what's going on right now, and the attorney was okay with that decision for the village board to make a decision on the 14th of November.
And that November 15th, probably, that meeting on November 15th is a public hearing with respect to the application.
Okay. Now, if it's a public hearing that night, but what if the board's determination is that the project can't go forward, or the site plan is unacceptable? Will there still be a public hearing, or would that have to be then put off?
No, we can still do the public hearing, and then whatever decision they make at that hearing.
Got it. All right. So the village board isn't going to discuss it tonight in any manner, way, shape, or form until we've heard from council and gotten guidance on the interpretation of the village code. We'll make a decision on the 14th and then relay that to the applicant's attorney. All right? Okay, that's that matter. And then I think, okay, I'm moving right ahead to the village clerk required that I sign I had to sign a curfew order for Halloween, which is on Monday this year.
Oh, great.
You don't really announce that.
Oh, I don't? Oh.
You're considering.
Oh, I am currently taking it under advisement from council and from the village clerk whether or not there will be a necessity to install a curfew for Halloween. Man, I am off my game tonight. All right, moving on to the general election day.
Point of information.
Sure.
Do we not have to vote on whether or not a curfew is instated? Okay.
No, it's a mayoral
It's an
order.
executive decision.
Live and let live.
Including the
We've
hours
We've
thereof?
always had it, right?
Very good, good to know.
Bill, the kind
We've
of
been having
power
it for a
that's
long time.
wielded
Just saying,
here, it's.
8 o'clock.
Yes. We are expecting, if that happens, as every year that we have done this, that our police officers, the enforcement arm of the village board, will operate with discernment and good judgment in that regard. All right, moving on. General Election Day. It is just mind-boggling that I think we're 15 days out from the general election, November 8th, 2022. And again, the Village Hall will be a place to vote on Election Day. So on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022, from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m., you will have an opportunity to vote on Election Day only, at Village Hall. Not across the street at St. Thomas in the gym, but at Village Hall, only on Election Day. Online, Gene, you found this on the county's Board of Elections site, correct? Online, I asked the village clerk to print out for me the early voting information put forth by the Orange County Board of Elections. There are a number of sites, 8 in total for early voting. They are City of Middletown, City of Newburgh, City of Port Jervis, the town, not the village, of Cornwall, town of Goshen, town of Montgomery, town of Monroe, town of Warwick, where the addresses of each of these polling sites are. They're not all at village and town halls. They're at ambulance companies. They're at activity center. They're at senior centers. So please reference this before you go to vote early. And obviously they have a list of times and dates for early voting, and they are all the same for those 8 locations. So if you want to vote early in Cornwall, you're doing it at 1 Clinton Street at the Cornwall EMS building, and you have plenty of days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 separate opportunities to vote early if you want to. All right, that's that. This is not on the agenda, just wanted to add this. Toys for Tots, if you're not familiar with it, the United States Marine Corps Reserve back in 1957 came up with a plan for a program to provide toys for children, less fortunate children, and put together a plan that has now been ongoing for, well, what is that, almost 60-something years. We were asked to have this Village Hall as a drop-off spot. We have a cardboard box that is garishly outfitted with labeling about what it is for the Toys for Tots. They ask that if you're going to drop a toy off, and I'm gonna encourage these trustees and department heads to please engage, they be unwrapped and they be new, meaning unused. Don't clean out your kid's closet and put the stuff here. There are places to donate that stuff to, trust me, don't throw it away. But Toys for Tots wants new, in the package, toys that are unwrapped so they can make an assessment on where those toys go. All right? Okay, and all right, I think that brings us to public comment.
Veterans Day.
Oh, I went right by that. I'm sorry. Veterans Day, village offices, meaning 325 Hudson Street here, will be closed. What day is Veterans Day, by the way?
Friday.
11th.
No, I know, day of the week.
Friday.
Friday. Okay, so it's on a Friday. We will be closed. The American Legion Post 353 will be hosting it as always. The ceremony will be down at Veterans Triangle across from Town Hall, directly across from the Medal of Honor monument that we have to 4 Cornwall residents that were Medal of Honor recipients. Jim, is it always at noon or 11 or 10? What time is it?
11.
It's at 11. Please double check the time, but you're pretty sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so
11.
11.
Yeah.
Okay, and am I leaving anything out?
The speakers, I believe the speakers.
Well,
Medal of Honor or whatever.
yeah, we've requested that, but he's also been requested to be in New York City and to be part of the televised observance of it. So if he doesn't go, that is who we have requested be our speaker.
Okay.
Which would be really cool. All right, moving on. Next item of business, public comment. If you wish to speak and address the board, please step up to the podium, use the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Sir.
Good evening, Brendan Coyne, 13 Paul Court. Just a few items. I'd like to suggest as the board begins its budget deliberation to consider a new line for Donahue Farm, just to take care of incidental expenditures. I think that would be helpful to for the committee to continue its work. In regard to the 10:15 event, it was a beautiful occasion, as Bill outlined. Another person who was very active that day was Mary Donahue herself. And there was also a raffle for the first community garden lot. So it was kind of fun to have that, and that's going to, help with publicity. And the last thing is just to note the passing of Pat Harding. While he wasn't a village resident, he had a lot to do with the betterment of the town of Cornwall, particularly in the way of sports, helping with the golf course when we could use it, the refreshment stand at the football games. And Pat was a Korean War vet and a great singer. And many people, including myself, will miss him very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we will move on to board comments, and we will start with Trustee Brain. Sir.
Hello. One thing I would say in the general election, and we have not as a village board discussed this at all, I don't know that we would, but on the back of the ballot, there is a ballot initiative, just one this year, and it is to allow the state of New York to float a bond aimed at clean water infrastructure development. So in a situation where we have these rusty pipes right here from 1895 and 1927, I think that municipalities around the state would definitely be likely to benefit from that kind of measure. So I would encourage people. I know what I'm going to do, but flip your ballot over, take a look at the provision on the back, or look up, read up on it, understand what it's about, and I'm going to vote for it. But that's me personally. The bulk cleanup, thank you. We just had a little bit, but I always feel a sense of lightening of the load village-wide when your crews come around and clean up everybody's cobweb things. It's something else. It's a real interesting phenomenon, and it's like a lightening of the load, like I said. And the water department booth at the Fall Fest, I thought was a really excellent measure. I think, Mike can attest that one of the things I've found most interesting being on the board is the water system, how it works, the ins and outs of it.
Yep.
I like to think that I'm 1% qualified to take on the lowest person's job on the totem pole, 1%. And it's really interesting, and it was a really good move to have the water department there presenting information to people. And probably forgetting things, but thank you very much. That's it.
Great points, Bill. Thank you. Trustee Gaylord.
I just want to say that the Storm King Fire Department, and on behalf of the Fire Commission, I think everyone is very excited about our continued effort to continue forward with the new pumper tanker. It's sending a lot of good energy to our great volunteers down there. And not only is it well needed, but it's going to be a real asset once it comes to fruition.
Okay. Thank you. And Trustee Cornwall.
Thanks to the Donahue Farm Committee. I think it's a positive move to set up the donation end of it. I think people will be more than happy to give, and I hope we really get a good, a better bid on the roof. We're all looking forward to getting that building buttoned up, but we gotta maintain a cost. So hopefully that happens. That's it for me.
Excellent. And Deputy Mayor Kane.
Just a couple of things. Let's see. Thanks to PD for, with respect to the Cheryl Walker Scholarship Run. Thanks for covering that. Thanks to Barbara Gazda for leading the way with the annual village-wide yard sale. That went off well. And for DPW for an excellent job on the bulk pickup. And definitely a special thanks to the Donahue Farm Steering Committee and the Special Events Committee. It was you couldn't get better weather for that day. And I asked the band, would they come back up? And they said absolutely. The view was stunning, and the entire event was just was outstanding. So kudos to both committees. It really showcased the village.
All right, and I got a couple things before I do that. Got an alibi, Dave. Get a couple of reach outs from residents during the meeting about the trimming of the willow trees down at Donnie Memorial Park. Did we do that today, or did we have a team do it?
We didn't do it today, we did it a few weeks ago.
Oh, well, there, somebody just noticed it, but our guys did that, right? All right, and we do have a tree, the tree company coming in to take some of our trees down before it gets to be winter, right? And before we worry about that, because I know there's some that are in precarious positions, but
We have the we had the tree company come in over the summer, take some of the dead wood out of the willow trees down there. But, usually throughout the year, usually once in the spring and maybe once midway through the year, we go down and we, give them a haircut, so to speak, the willow trees, to elevate them up, so
okay.
they look nice.
All right. All right, thank you for that. I want to make a correction. I think it was in the Cornwall Local this week in the Village Roundup, and that Jason Kaplan attended the meeting, that the work session meeting we had. And when the village board discussed the Knox box, I think he heard it phonetically as Knox, K-O-N-C-K-S, but the Knox box is actually K-N-O-X, and that box is designed in multifamily, especially commercial apartment buildings, providing key access, not key as a descriptor, but key as a noun, key access for the individual apartment so that first responders, especially firefighters, can get into apartments without having to take doors. So the village board is still discussing that matter in regards to the interpretation of the code, and we discussed it at length in the work session as far as how far down we want to go with, what we consider to be a requirement. Do we do it for a three-family? Do we do it for a mother and daughter? Do we do it for just commercial buildings? So that discussion, it's a Knox box, K-O-N-X, and the board is still entertaining this and staying in contact with our building inspector about how we proceed on that. But we are expecting them to be in commercial apartment buildings. So that's it. Okay, and I'd say to Barbara Gazda, who's she's the deputy mayor ex officio for this village board, and for 15 years has spearheaded the village-wide yard sale, did another excellent bang-up job, truly adds to the village, I think, and the fact that the Appletime Fair at Cornwall Presbyterian Church happened on the same day was a wonderful thing. I had attended services there the week prior to hear my old 10th Mountain Division chaplain preach, and was excited to see that happened the same day, and I think it was a great thing. And lastly, my locator, I will be gone the rest of this week to take care of a family matter out in Dallas. In my absence, the deputy mayor will have the meeting if it's something that requires boots on the ground for something. He's available. I will have my cell phone, and as always, will be available for village business that way. And with that, any other alibis? Any alibis from the back? With that, I'm going to make a motion to close the October 24th Village Board business meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, keep in mind, the mics are still on until the village clerk gives me the nod. All right, 1 hour and 19 minutes. Jim, did you take a look at this?
Yeah, I read that as soon as we came in. I gotta talk to Manny for a second.
It's a wordsmith. It's a fancy word.